scrolling through the classifieds, but you're not exactly sure what to buy. All you know is you don't need a brand new sled. You don't need the fancy new features. You don't need that fancy display. You just want to load up your sled, get out of the city, hit the road, head out to the mountains, and meet up with your buddies. I'm Jason Cavill, and you're watching JSN Backcountry Snowmobiling. So this is my 2012 Polaris Pro ride. It was a 163-inch, 800cc sled, and it was awesome. The only thing I had against it was a little underpowered. On super deep days like this, I would have it absolutely wide open. This right here is basically as fast as it could go. Compared to other sleds of the day, like Skidoos and even Arctic Cats, the Polaris was underpowered. Biggest advantage of the Polaris though was it was the lightest sled in its class. This made it the most maneuverable sled of its day, and I learned so many new techniques, had an absolute blast. I quickly went from a meadow rider to a technical tree rider. Almost everybody I rode with also switched to this sled. My sled's a 2012, but they all went to the 2013 sled. I'll talk about that in a little bit. This sled helped them progress their ability levels, and they all became advanced riders within a year or two. This was a particularly deep day, and you can see I have it absolutely wide open, and this sled is being pushed to its max. Even though it was regarded as the lightest mountain sled of its day, it was still somewhat heavy on the front end, and after a while you would get pretty tired out. Check out how fast I can switch my sandwich from bottom up to top down. Ain't that impressive? It wasn't just about the snowmobile, it was more about the people that you got out riding with. Here I am riding with my parents, and we were having an absolute blast. So many memories were made.
Didn't get far.
And here's my wife riding the 2012 Polaris. That was her first time ever riding a sled. So I'm not trying to tell you what snowmobile to go out and buy, but I do have first-hand experience and a lot of seat time with these sleds. So here's something I'll point out. The 2012 has a chain case, and that's pretty heavy, and it requires a little bit of maintenance. You gotta drain the oil once a season, and again, that adds weight, and you really do feel it. 2013 Polaris introduced the Quick Drive. It's a belt drive system that loses the chain case and saves a ton of weight and rotational mass, and you really do notice it. The Pro-Ride chassis lasted up to 2015. In 2016, Polaris introduced the Axys chassis and the 800 HO motor. This was a game changer. Here's my dad on his brand new 2016, making this little side hill look like a piece of cake. We're riding in a drainage, and it's pretty technical. It's springtime conditions, super heavy snow, very challenging, and he's having no issues at all. Here's my mom, and she's not exactly having the best time in the woods here. I was the one leading us down this trail. My bad, Mom, sorry about that. She's riding a 2012 Polaris 600 RMK, also on the Pro-Ride chassis. It also has electric start, and it is pretty heavy on the front end. With me riding it, I can muscle it around, but with a lighter rider, or like my mom, she's not as aggressive and has a bit of difficulty in the trees. We really should have put her on that orange Axys. If you're wanting to learn how to ride drainages and trees, you can't go wrong with a Matrix chassis or an Axys chassis Polaris. So here's my first real ride on an Axys chassis Polaris. RMK. Get onto it. The snow was basically bottomless, and where the other sleds were just getting stuck left and right, this sled seemed to just get up on top of the snow and fly. I am bouncing around, wheeling all over the place. I had never experienced anything quite like this before. And I went and bought one the next day. Didn't take long for everybody else to upgrade as well. Watch this. Breppity brap. This chassis brought an absolute revolution to snowmobiling. It was hard to believe that this was a stock snowmobile. What used to seem like a challenge was a piece of cake, and we were exploring areas we had never thought possible. Part of it was this 2.6 track. The other half of it was just the new chassis and how well it got up on top of the snow. Now we're all of a sudden exploring these crazy steep drainages like it's nothing. We're getting tired less because we are on the lightest snowmobiles on the snow, and they are still the lightest snowmobiles ever made. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I'm Jason Cavill, and you've been watching JSN Backcountry Snowmobiling. Thanks for watching.